Yakin nggak mau mengembangkan ilmu dan upgrade karir kamu? Kamu lulusan S1 Ilmu Kesehatan dan Kedokteran, Ilmu Hayati, Ilmu Teknik, Ilmu Filsafat, Ilmu Sosial, atau lainnya? Yuk bergabung dengan program Magister Bioetik UGM.
Ya, jadi prodi bioetika itu merupakan flagship dari UGM, ya, di mana di situ mempromosikan dan memfasilitasi transdisciplinary dan multidisciplinary science, gitu ya. Ada interaksi science interaction begitu di UGM. Jadi mahasiswa prodi bioetika itu bisa berasal dari lulusan Fakultas Kedokteran, lulusan Fakultas Kesehatan Masyarakat, lulusan biologi, filsafat, ilmu sosial, bahkan juga teknik gitu, dari teknik. Nah, jadi lulusan dari prodi bioetika nanti bisa juga menjadi seorang peneliti ataupun dosen ataupun juga praktisi di suatu rumah sakit maupun juga di NGO dan sebagainya.
Menurut saya, tenaga kesehatan itu sangatlah penting ya untuk mempelajari tentang bioetik, karena tenaga kesehatan adalah profesional yang bekerja dengan memberikan pelayanan kesehatan yang langsung berhubungan dengan manusia, di mana manusia itu memiliki keinginan, memiliki akal budi, dan ingin diperlakukan sebagaimana layaknya makhluk hidup yang membutuhkan harkat dan martabat.
Seorang dokter memiliki kebutuhan akan ilmu bioetik, terutama karena konteks bahwa pelayanan dan praktik kedokteran kesehatan dimanapun itu di seluruh dunia penuh dengan kompleksitas, dinamika, tantangan, dan juga pilihan-pilihan yang harus dibuat.
Kenalkan, nama saya Tania Imarsalina. Belakangnya saya sarjana S1-nya dari kedokteran di Universitas Sriwijaya. Sekarang sedang mengambil S2 Magister Bioetik UGM. Alasannya kenapa kamu mengambil Bioetik UGM, karena ketika belajar kedokteran kan kebanyakan fokusnya itu pada penyakit pasien gitu. Sedangkan kita tahu kalau manusia itu dia kompleks, nggak hanya penyakitnya aja tapi juga latar sosialnya, kehidupannya. Nah, di bioetika ini kita lebih fokusnya kepada itu gitu. Jadi kita mempelajari pasien secara menyeluruh, secara holistik. Agar kita bisa tahu gimana kita bisa memperlakukan pasien dengan baik dan menghargai harkat dan martabat dia sebagai seorang manusia.
ada satu pertanyaan, apa sebenarnya bioetika itu? Bioetika itu berkembang dari waktu ke waktu. Yang tadinya etika menjadi biomedical ethics, oleh karena yang banyak menggunakan etika itu kedokteran, medical tadi. Namun demikian sebenarnya pada saat ini yang tidak etis itu tidak hanya kedokteran saja, bisa terjadi di hampir semua bidang ilmu. Sehingga dengan demikian dari biomedical ethics tadi berkembang menjadi bioetika, kemudian global bioethics, ya. Dan yang terakhir yang kita kembangkan di sini apa yang kita sebut dengan the new sense of bioethics. Ini pun saya mengembangkan ini distimulasi oleh sekretaris UNESCO yang di Paris. Pertanyaannya, Narto, kamu punya Pancasila, tolong etika itu dikembangkan ini. The new sense of bioethics itu adalah satu studi dari transdisciplinary subjek, biologi dan seterusnya, ya. Ada sosiologi, ada ekonomi, ada politik, language, bahkan arts, and is studying of human behavior untuk memiliki in having a new tolerance on transdisciplinary attitude. Apa itu artinya? Memang ada keterangan lebih lanjut, tapi itu setidak-tidaknya batasan dari New Sense of Ethics. Tadinya itu respect for person, beneficence, dan justice. 3. Berkembang menjadi 4. Respect for autonomy, beneficence, non-maleficence, dan justice. Nah, dengan the new sense of ethics ini, respect for others itu berarti respect pada antar orang dengan hewan, antar orang dengan tumbuh-tumbuhan maupun lingkungan. Ya, jadi dengan demikian respect for others itu ada artinya tersendiri, berkembang lagi. Beneficent, non-maleficent, yang kita tambahkan di situ adalah tidak hanya justice, tetapi it should be social justice for all. Itulah Pancasila.
Center for Bioethics and Medical Humanity atau CPMH merupakan bagian dari Fakultas Kedokteran, Kesehatan Masyarakat dan Keperawatan Universitas Gadjah Mada. Sebagai bagian dari perguruan tinggi ini, kami mengemban tanggung jawab untuk melaksanakan Tridharma perguruan tinggi. Kolaborasi nasional dan internasional merupakan kunci dalam melaksanakan Tridharma tersebut. Melalui kolaborasi ini pula, CPMH dapat bertransformasi menjadi sebuah pusat pengembangan ilmu bioetika dan humaniora kedokteran dan membidani lahirnya program Master Bioetika.
Yeah, good afternoon and welcome again in Rabuan discussion. So, as usual, Center for Bioethics and Medical Humanities on every Wednesday for Rabuan research and perspective sharing. And today's topic we have very interesting topics about human enhancement and Islam conflict or consensus. And our speaker today, Mr. Najib Kunjaria. Good afternoon, Mr. Najib. How are you?
Good,
Yeah,
I'm good. Thank you.
okay. Thank you for your time today, for joining us to share your presentations about human enhancement and Islam. I think that's very interesting because human enhancements nowadays it's very up to date topics. So because of development of the technology. So it's like a dream that some days we can enhance our capability, human capability in some ways. So maybe Mbak Milen, could you please share about Mr. Najib, CV-nya Mbak Milen? Okay, yeah. Okay, I will introduce to all of you about Mr. Najib Kunjaria first. He's hold a Master of Art degree in Philosophy in National University of Singapore, Master of Science degree in Bioethics from Universitas Gadjah Mada. So you are alumni from Master of
Yes.
Bioethics, yeah? I guess,
Yes.
yeah. Universitas Gadjah Mada, and also hold certificate in medical neuroscience from Duke University, USA. And currently, Mr. Najib Kunjaria pursuing his PhD in philosophy of medicine in International Institute of Islamic Thought and Civilization ISTAJ, International Islamic University, Malaysia. And he also member of the board of editors in life science as an academic editor for books and journals in the area of life science, humanities, and social science. So I think we will go to the Mr. Gunjaria. I will offer to you, and the time is yours, Mr. Gunjari.
Thank you, Fahmi. Fahmi, actually, I will need help with slides.
Oh ya, oke, Mbak Milan boleh minta tolong slide ya, please, Mr. Gunjari.
Okay, so yes, so selamat siang, good afternoon, assalamualaikum. First of all, I would like to thank the Center for Bioethics and Medical Humanities of Universitas Gadjah Mada for inviting me for this sharing session. So our topic for today is human enhancement and Islam, conflict or consensus. Yep. Yes, please move to slide 1. So we'll start with some basic definitions. Next, please. Okay, so let's start defining some of the key terms. Okay, so I would like to say that this topic was actually the topic for my master's thesis at UGM. So this is what I'm presenting today. Okay, so let's start with what is human enhancement. So human enhancement, it refers to a range of existing, emerging, means what's currently being developed, and visionary, okay, in the future. Visionary technological interventions, okay, which can be genetic, biomedical, or pharmaceutical. We'll look at that later. Okay, the aim of this intervention is to improve the human body and mind temporarily or permanently, okay, in terms of dispositions, yeah, in terms of capacities or well-being. And it's being done even in the absence of disease, which is a very important thing here to differentiate it with therapy. Okay, next. Okay, so yes, so now regarding this differentiation, it's important to know what actually constitutes enhancement. So first, let's go with what is therapy. So therapy, actually, it restores the normal function of the body, okay, when the body is diseased or when the body is impaired. Okay, so then it goes through therapy. Okay, so it is aimed at pathologies that compromise health or reduce one's level of functioning. So to restore normal function. Yeah, enhancement, on the other hand, it improves some capacity or function within species level functioning. Okay, so like what other species have, or it can even be beyond that. Okay, functions that we do not have right now. For example, let's say seeing in the dark, night vision, or the telescopic vision of an eagle. Okay, so beyond species level functioning. Okay, and it is done even in the absence of disease. We don't need to have any disease to do that. It is an improvement on existing capacity, or it is not just improvement, it can be really spearheading something new, okay, a new function, a new functionality which we do not currently possess. Next. Okay, so how is human enhancement achieved? Okay, so in other words, what are the means of human enhancement? So first we have genetic engineering. Okay, for example, genetic editing like via CRISPR, okay, where we can alter or we can add new genes. And genetic enhancement, there are two types. It can be somatic enhancement, or it can be germline editing. So germline editing, it is hereditary, yeah? So it can be transferred to future generation. Whereas somatic editing, it will only affect the specific person concerned. Okay, second in the list, we have pharmacological intervention. Okay, and this is achieved through human enhancement drugs, okay, which can impact muscle, okay, like you have a bigger muscle, okay, weight loss, yeah, or it can also to change your skin or hair, skin color, texture, yeah, even it can be for sexual enhancement, yeah, cognition enhancers like improve your alertness, yeah, and also it can alter mood and social behavior. Okay, next we have nanotechnology, another means of enhancement. So here we are manipulating biological material at the nanometer scale. Okay, for example, we are repairing or we are replacing the DNA or red blood cells or even neurons. Yep. And next we have cybernetics. Here mainly it is through prostheses. For example, an artificial heart pacemaker. Okay, yeah. So for your heartbeat, or it can be a cochlear implant, okay, to improve your hearing. Okay, it can also be, you know, putting a lens in your eyes so that you can have night or telescopic vision. Okay, it can even be something like, you know, equipping you with an exoskeleton, yeah, to make you walk faster. Yeah, so this is also possible. Okay, there are other means, but these are the main ones. Okay, next. So the types. Now let's go to the types of human enhancement. So the first type is physical enhancement. For example, you are editing embryos to increase physical beauty. The second one is cognitive enhancement, where you're using smart drugs to increase your intelligence quotient. Third, you can have social, affective, or emotional enhancement. And here you're suppressing, for example, you're suppressing aggression in violent people, or you are making people more, let's say you're increasing, making them more social, encouraging social behavior. Yeah. Next one is moral enhancement, where you're trying to effect some changes on the emotion or on the disposition, okay, in order to increase empathy. And finally, we have longevity, which is increasing healthy human lifespan. Okay, very important word, healthy human lifespan, not just increasing it for no reason, but you have to still be healthy. Yeah, next. So my research questions, okay, so this study is a comparative study. Yeah, it's a comparative study. And so my first question is, how do the conception of the human person with respect to human enhancement differ in secular humanist and Islamic discourses? Second question is, what are the bioethical issues that human enhancement raises in secular humanist and Islamic discourses? And finally, how do these two discourses envision human fulfillment as the objective of human enhancement? Next. Okay, so yeah, we can skip this one. It is the same. Yeah, the objectives are mirrored. Yeah, the same. So now the significance of this study. This is the first study, actually first in-depth study, very specific on human enhancement and Islam. Okay, so this study, it acknowledges that Islam is not monolithic. Okay, there is a lot of diversity within the faith. So a lot of diversity means a lot of responses. Yeah, how people engage with this topic. Okay, so the discourses are also varied. Okay, and here, okay, by extension, yeah, so it presents this diversity of responses, and by extension, like how would be the Islamic perspective or the reaction, okay, regarding of Muslims with respect to any novel medical technologies. Next. Okay, so here it is some of the studies which have already been carried out. So most of them are in the area of fiqh, Islamic jurisprudence. Okay, so and these are some of the people, just some of them. Okay, I haven't included the whole long list. Okay, that would take us 2 hours. Okay, so there are main people here. For example, you have an entry in the Encyclopedia of Islamic Bioethics. Okay, on the entry called Enhancement. Okay, by Siti Nuraini Muhammad Noor from University of Malaya. Next one, we have one entry in the Routledge Companion to Religion and Science, okay, by Ibrahim Musa, quite a well-known Islamic scholar. Okay, and third, we have one quite recent. Okay, it's on the Islamic ethics of technology. It doesn't address human enhancement exactly. I do have the book here. Okay, so not exactly, but it does touch on this topic a little bit. Yeah. Okay, so there is also others like Anke Buzenita, yeah, who's now teaching at Oman. So not many people have really engaged with this topic. Yeah, so in depth, that's why I choose this topic. Okay, let's move on. Next. Okay, so this the theoretical framework. So for this, it is a conceptual study, yeah, interdisciplinary. So I'm not really interviewing people. I'm not really doing any empirical survey. No, I'm not doing that. It is a conceptual study. So I'm looking at these two discourses. Okay, how do they address human enhancement? So here I'm using literature from bioethics, from Islamic studies, especially Islamic legal philosophy, okay, fiqh and usulul fiqh, yeah, and also, and coming from that, Maqasid al-Sharia, as well as moral and political philosophy. Yeah, so these are the literature that I'm using for this study. Yeah, next. Okay, so so mainly I'm using Maqasid al-Sharia, the higher objectives of Islamic law. Well, I wouldn't, that's not a good translation. I would say better translation would be the intents and goals. Okay, goal, the word for it is maqasid in Arabic. The singular form is maqsad. Okay, of the way is a Sharia. Okay, the Sharia means the way. Okay, the Sharia doesn't necessarily means criminal law. Okay, as it is really usually understood. Yeah, so it is simply means the way instituted by God. Okay, God who is a lawgiver. Lawgiver in Arabic is al-Shari. Okay, so at a very elementary level, basic understanding of Maqasid al-Sharia, it aims at the preservation of these 5 universal necessities: religion, human life, progeny, intellect, wealth. Yeah, here I do have to stress this is at a very, very basic level. Okay, so when I did this master's, I thought, wow, now I really know quite a bit about Maqasid al-Sharia. But when I started doing my PhD, my supervisor, Professor El Tahir El Misawi, yeah, told me, well, Naguib, your research proposal from the first one to now, in a year, it has improved so much. So now you have actually graduated, you have moved from Bai level, okay, from an infant level to, toddler, okay, to toddler. And I thought I know so much. Okay, so I'm really still learning about this Maqasid al-Sharia. It's a very, very sophisticated theory. Yeah, so I'm still a beginner in this. I do have to, put things clear on the table here. I'm not an expert in the field of Maqasid al-Sharia. I'm still learning. Okay, hopefully I'll get there. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Okay, so here, the main thing when it comes to Maqasid al-Sharia, we are talking about maslaha. Maslaha, which means the common interest, what is called common interest. Okay, human beings. So here, what Al-Ghazali, one Muslim theologian and philosopher, he said that human beings naturally strive towards their well-being by seeking benefit and avoiding harm. Okay, seeking benefit, okay, you can think of it as, seeking benefit. Okay, well, we look at this, and avoiding harm. And so what exactly is this benefit? Al-Razi, another philosopher, he says that it consists of pleasure and what brings pleasure, whereas avoiding harm means avoiding pain and what causes pain. Okay, for Al-Ghazali, for him, this sensual experience of pleasure and pain cannot be a valid criteria to define common interest, maslaha. Okay, so for him, he thinks that the pursuit of benefit, avoidance of harm, they constitutes, okay, so as defined by Al-Razi, they constitute objects of human desire, not divine intention. Okay, next. Okay, so he defines maslaha is God's purpose in revealing the divine law. More concretely, that intention is to preserve for humankind the 5 universal necessities for their well-being. Okay, very interesting point here. Yeah, okay, so to put it in other words, what does God actually want? what is God's intention in revealing the Quran? Yeah, so here we are looking at things from a meta level. Okay, so beyond the mere verses. Okay, so we are looking at the Quran, okay, from a very holistic, encompassing perspective. So what does God actually want for humanity? What does living the good life means? Okay, so what should we do about it? Yeah, so this is what it is telling us here. Okay, so for maslaha, for something to be considered common interest, okay, first it has to be a real necessity. Okay, there are three categories. Okay, the jurists have expounded on this at length. Okay, and it has to be an absolute certainty. Yeah, it's not just speculative. Okay, and thirdly, it has to be universal. It's not what will benefit one person or one group. It should benefit everybody. Okay, so Islam is revealed for the benefit of humanity, for everybody. Humanity doesn't mean only Muslims. Okay, so let's look at the next page. Next slide, please. Okay, so here, Maqasid al-Sharia, it is, okay, it is an, what we call it, it is an ethical legal framework. Yeah, ethical legal framework that is operationalized. Okay, how is it, how do we realize it in practice, in reality? Okay, through this Qawaid al-Fiqhiyya, which is Islamic jurisprudential maxims. Okay, so the first, okay, this is kind of a summary, okay, looking at all these verses in the Quran. Yeah, so we are looking at, okay, what are the, okay, so they have come up with a few axioms, okay, some maxims to make it easy, okay, to legislate on things, to deliberate, to be able to assess them, okay, to evaluate them. Is it okay, not okay? So how? Okay, so the first thing we look is at intention. Okay, what is the motive behind doing something? Okay, if you want to do human enhancement, okay, let's say you're not happy with one nose. You want to have two noses. Yeah, so what's the motive behind that? Yeah, so actions are judged by their intention. We consider intention. The second thing is certainty, yaqeen in Arabic. Okay, so certainty, if you're not sure, if you have something you're sure, you're something you're not very sure, we will choose what is certain. Okay, certainty cannot be overruled by doubt. Yeah. Third one is darura, the principle of darura, which is necessity. So necessity sometimes can make the unlawful lawful. For example, pork is haram. Yeah, the consumption of pork is haram in Islam, but there are exceptions. Okay, so when your life is threatened, it's a matter of life and death. Okay, there is exception. You are allowed to eat it. Okay, so this is a principle of darura here. Next one is a principle of darar. Okay, so preventing evil or harm is better than attracting benefits. Okay, a good example here is the prohibition of alcohol, yeah, or anything that causes intoxication. Okay, interestingly, the Quran says, okay, it's kind of acknowledges, yeah, God acknowledges that there are some benefits in alcohol, but the harm that it brings is much more than the benefit. Okay, so in this case, it's better to simply not have it. Okay, so preventing evil or harm is better than attracting benefits. And finally, okay, it is a principle of urf, which is custom. Custom is authoritative. Okay, so what this means is we need to consider customs. Yeah, so yeah, God in the Quran says, okay, we have created you in various, okay, tribes and nations so that you may get to know each other. Yeah, so and the best among you is the one who is the most God conscious or God mindful. Yeah, so yeah, so this is an important point to consider as well. Okay, next. All right, so why do I use Maqasid al-Sharia? I could have used other things. Okay, so I could have used, for example, principlism. Okay, the four principles by Beauchamp and Childress. Okay, I could have used that, but I decided not to use that. Okay, because myself, okay, earlier I mentioned about, okay, I mentioned about fiqh. Okay, so I could also have used fiqh as well. Okay, so fiqh does not have universal consensus because it goes with schools of thought. Okay, whether you're Maliki, you're Shafi, you're Hanbali, okay, or whether you are from the, Shia, Ismaili group, the Shia, yeah, which is also a legitimate um, sect of Islam. Yeah, so it does not have universal consensus. And even within the same school, okay, Sunni scholars can disagree. Yeah, so this can lead to some confusion. Okay, and principlism, four principles. Okay, I want something which is authentically Islamic. Yeah, authentically Islamic. And four principles of abortion and child raise, it has a lot of problems, this thing. And it is simply one way deliberate. Okay, it's like one theory you're using. A theory is not enough. Okay, so the Quran is not a book of theories. It's not a book of philosophy. The Quran is guidance. Guidance means what do you choose finally? If you have 5 different theories, you apply 5 of them, it doesn't mean you know what to choose. Okay, it doesn't mean you know what is a priority. Okay, that's why in Maqasid al-Sharia, it tells you what is a priority. Yeah, so like preservation of faith, preservation of, okay, so we have akal, okay, intellect. Okay, this can be developed further. Okay, intellect, preservation of intellect can also means, okay, intellect, it can also means access to good information, truthful information. Yeah, so it can means you need to have education for that. So a whole structure can be built around this. Yeah, so and let's say preservation of life. Okay, before you can have life, okay, you need to have, life needs to be at a minimum quality as well. Okay, to guarantee quality of life, you need to have hospitals, you need to train doctors. Yeah, so a whole structure can be built around that. So Maqasid al-Sharia prevents us from having what I would call misguided priorities. Okay, finally, we are putting money where they shouldn't really be. They are not really big priorities. Okay, and bioethics as a field has been suffering from this. Okay, that's why nowadays you have many of these like developing world bioethics. Yeah, so you have, there's been kind of a revolution against mainstream bioethics. Yeah, because it's too elitist. Yeah, it's only issues which affect the rich white men. Okay, so that's why I don't want to use that. Yeah, and I'll be coming up with an article in the future against, because some Muslims have been using principlism. I think it's a misguided, yeah, it's very misguided. It's wrong what they're doing. Okay, so that's why I'm using this, because Maqasid al-Sharia does not look at one verse of the Quran and says, okay, in this it is clear, God says no. No, it does. It looks at the whole thing, the whole body of the Quran, how this verse relates to others, which was revealed first. Okay, so then it has to adhere with the moral vision of Islam. Okay, that's the reason I'm using Maqasid al-Sharia as my framework. Next. Okay, so the research method, okay, it's an actual life problem, real life problem. Okay, as Fahmi, our moderator, mentioned, it is a hot topic. It's a very hot topic. Yeah, this human enhancement. Okay, so I'm using normative theoretical approach, conceptual analysis. Yeah. Okay, let's move on to the next slide. Okay, so the data source, literature data. So I've pulled them from books, from reports, conference proceedings, journals. Okay, so I've searched 2 electronic databases. Okay, PubMed and JSTOR. Okay, I've also searched Gray literature using Google Scholar. Yeah, and also reference list in articles, which are extremely useful. Okay, it leads me to other related articles. Okay, that's how I managed to bring everything together. Yeah. Okay, next. Okay, so yeah, we've done said this. Okay, next one. Okay, so these are the search terms I have used when searching the database. Next. All right, so well, we can skip this. I have included inclusion and exclusion criteria so that I don't have to deal with 1,000 articles, although we don't have that many, okay, dealing with this topic. Okay, next one. Okay, so here, yep, just data analysis, okay, conceptual analysis again. Next one. Okay, so these are my findings. Okay, this is an interesting part. Okay, so the secular uh, humanist and Islamic perspectives on human enhancement. Yeah, so here, well, I want to mention another thing here. Another reason I used Maqasid al-Sharia is we are discussing bioethics. I don't want Islamic bioethics to sound like I'm discussing something alien from outer space. So I want to use a common language, okay, with a common vocabulary and a common grammar. Okay, so by the vocabulary, I mean the themes which are addressed, and by the grammar, I mean the theories, the ethical theories which are used. Okay, so, and that's why my work here is very comparative. Yeah, so to add more value. Okay, so we are all talking about something. We are talking the same language. Okay, so here, if we look at the two, okay, secular humanism and Islam, with respect to the extent of enhancement, okay, radical enhancement, which I'm going to define later, moderate or no enhancement at all, we can find secular humanism and also Islam. It's possible to adopt. Okay, it adopts a permissive. It can adopt the permissive, which is permissive radical, yeah, in enhancement. Okay, so but in the Islamic, perspective here is conditions will apply. Okay, this is really exception. Yeah, and restrictive we can find again. Secular humanists can adopt radical enhancement, moderate enhancement. Yeah, of course, they don't advocate no enhancement. Okay, they advocate enhancement. Yeah, so the Islamic also will be more nuanced here. And conservative position, absolutely no enhancement. Okay, no radical enhancement, no moderate enhancement. Yeah, so and regarding no enhancement at all, yes, so you can have the secular humanist position here, and it's possible also to have the Islamic position. Okay, with some exceptions. All right, let's go to the next one. Okay, I'll be detailing more and discussing this more later. Okay, yeah. So this was okay. Yeah, please next one. 20. Yeah. Okay, here with respect to the types of human enhancement. Okay, so we can find secular humanists adopting all kinds of enhancement. Okay, permissive, which is like a really radical enhancement. We can find them adopting restrictive type of enhancement, a restrictive position. Okay, so like in certain cases only, yeah, or not all types. Yeah, and then we can also find them adopting a conservative position. Okay, so here conservative position. There's a small mistake here because moral enhancement, the Islamic position, it would be nil or null. Okay, no moral enhancement in the Islamic position. Yeah, let's go to the next one. Okay, so here regarding my discussion will be regarding the classification I have used in this study, okay, especially with respect to these three positions, okay, because it's possible to have other typologies, okay, for organizing. It's up to the researcher. So I'm using this, okay, these three positions: permissive, restrictive, or conservative, okay, and then I am going to elaborate on the secular humanist and Islamic perspective. Yes, next page. Okay, so here my classification. Yeah, so I do admit that each type of human enhancement, they can engender, they can give rise to its own set of ethical issues. Okay, yeah, for example, if you're talking about genome editing, embryo selection, lifespan, okay, extending the lifespan, are we really talking about the same thing? Okay, so I'm really using human enhancement as an umbrella term in this study. Yeah, so, but also Okay, we shouldn't forget there are a certain family resemblance among all these forms of intervention. Okay, so they do raise a set of similar ethical questions, ethical issues. Okay, that's why it is okay to group them under human enhancement. Yeah, and because this now my choice of these three positions, it does capture the key values, the key ideas, the key values and views, okay, presented by human enhancement in general. Yeah, next. Okay, so let's look at this permissive position. Okay, the permissive position means everything is permissible, everything is okay. Okay, we can do everything. So we can, we can edit embryos to increase beauty. We can do physical, cognitive, all types. Okay, we discussed this already. Next. Okay, so under the permissive position, we can distinguish two subcategories here. Okay, so with respect to the improvement of attributes, abilities. Okay, so here moderate enhancement is within or close to species level. Yeah, so you wouldn't go overboard. Okay, to go what a normal human cannot achieve. For example, to have the kind of vision of an eagle. Okay, so you wouldn't want to have that. Okay, so moderate enhancement. So bringing you to what, okay, a healthy human can do. Whereas radical enhancement, you go really beyond species level. Okay, this is within the permissive position. Next. Okay, so now the moderate, okay, how do they justify this their position? Okay, it is justified on this principle called welfarism and the good life. Okay, welfare, okay, well-being. Yeah, it improves well-being, therefore it is desirable. Yeah, so well-being here refers to all-purpose capacities or traits that increases a person's chances of leading a good life for any life plan, no matter what that person wants to be in life. They want to be a surgeon, okay, they want to be an expert in bungee jumping, whatever, okay, whatever they want. Okay, so here examples of all-purpose capacities: memory, intelligence, disease resistance, empathy, concentration, okay, being focused. No matter whether you're a surgeon, whether you're a boxer, okay, these, okay, whether you're a student, a university professor, this will help you. Okay, that's why it is for any life plan. Next. Okay, so now the permissive position, again, now the radical position. Yeah, so here the radical position is what is called transhumanism. Okay, so this philosophy of transhumanism, so transhumanists, they believe that the human body or the mind is deficient and it is still evolving. Okay, we are not yet where we ought to be, okay, to put it in other words. Okay, so because it is deficient, so the limit, our body is a problem. It limits our full capabilities. So it stands in need of improvement. Okay, so here they believe in a utopia. The utopia is okay, what is called techno-salvation. Yeah, very religious term, salvation. So it is salvation through technology. Okay, so they envision a world where the body and the mind is free from any disease or decrepitude, old age. Okay, it means it's possible that there comes a time when we can live forever. Yeah, so they're trying to fight death and aging. Enhancement is morally obligatory. So for them, enhancement is not just desirable. Yeah, so for moderate position, it is desirable. This one, no, it's not desirable. It is morally obligatory to save the human species from destruction. Yeah, so they argue that we are ill-equipped to make morally good choices. Okay, we make so many bad decisions. terrible decisions that even endanger the planet, okay, destroy the planet, pollute the planet, and of course it will kill us, but we don't really think that far. Yeah, so we make very bad choices. That's why we need to be fixed. Okay, so next one is we need to increase empathy and reduce aggression. We are violent by nature. Yeah. And finally, okay, like Suvalescu, yeah, one big name in bioethics. Okay, he says parents must select the embryo with the highest expected quality of life or well-being. Okay, not just anyone. Yes, that's how they try to justify it. Okay, next. All right, so transhumanism and the created co-creator. Okay, so transhumanists, they are not just simply secular humanists. Secular humanists, they don't believe in God. Yeah, they don't believe in religion. That's what they say. But secular humanism is a kind of religion in itself. Okay, it's like scientism. Okay, so but it can include religious believers as well. For example, here, two famous names in this regard. We have Philip Hefner. Okay. Okay, so Philip Hefner. Okay, so he says that as God's created co-creator, humankind must exercise their agency and participate in the creation process. And then we have Ted Peters. He says, we are morally obliged to participate in God's creative activity. Yeah, I won't be surprised if in the future we also have some Muslim thinkers, okay, who will also be transhumanist. Yeah, it's very likely. Yeah, next. Okay, so let's come to the restrictive position. Okay, so the restrictive position proceed with cautious optimism. Yeah, we should be very cautious. We cannot just simply embrace human enhancement no matter what. Okay, so they agree to this human enhancement. In principle, they agree to it. They are not against it. Yeah, so but they worry about the unintended consequences. Okay, whether there might be side effects. Okay, so because it is a very human enhancement, it is still in its infancy. Yeah, it is still a very it's still very experimental. Yeah, so it's bound. That's how science progress. You make some mistakes and before you finally get it right. Okay, so they also worry about ethical issues, yeah, that it brings. For example, inequality, fairness, discrimination, autonomy. Okay, let's look at each of these in turn. Okay, next. Okay, now social inequality. So here the issue is about distributive justice. Okay, distributive, so restricted. Yes, so the problem is they say that, well, there is restricted access to such technologies. Not everybody can access it. It's only those who are the wealthy, yeah, those who are the rich who can afford that, not everyone. And these people, they're already better than average. Yeah, so, and why do they need it? Yeah, so so benefits will flow to those people who don't really need them by necessity. Yeah, so it drains resources away from more, you know, useful research. Yeah, research that will benefit more people. Yeah, so it's a case of misguided priorities, what I mentioned before. Yeah, so it will, they worry that it will widen the gap between the rich and the poor, and it will make the elites, yeah, more unwilling to contribute to general welfare. Yeah, that's one worry. Okay, next one. Next slide, please. Okay, so the next one is about fairness. Okay, so here fairness, why fairness? Because it involves human enhancement. It's a bit like cheating. It's a bit like cheating, like you are, okay, so violating some rules of competition. Yeah, so there is this idea, what is called positional good. Okay, it has value in its own right. You're born with it. Okay, you're born, okay, with high IQ, or, you know, you have physical ability to make you a good athlete. Okay, so you're just born with it. So it's a positional good. Okay, so here we believe that these should, okay, so these academic, okay, whether it is academic, whether it is athletic, success should depend on talent, training, effort, not just taking performance drugs. Yeah, so because you can afford these drugs, so finally you are better. Yeah, so it doesn't seem right. Yeah, next. Okay, so discrimination, because human enhancement, it's a form of eugenics. Okay, because if carried over generations, several generations, finally it might give rise to two types of species. Okay, so one species which is genetically enhanced and one species which is genetically unenhanced. Yeah, and they might be so different that one will dominate over the other. Yeah, or not be interested in the other at all. Yeah, so, and this kind of human enhancement, it endorses, it proposes a certain model of human being, like a human being should be like this. Yeah, it should possess this ability. Yeah, so it imposes it on the population. Yeah, and the state might enforce that. So it goes against free choice. Yeah. Okay, next one. Next slide, please. Yep. Okay, finally, it is about autonomy. And here we are really talking about the autonomy, okay, the freedom of future generations. They don't get to decide. The baby, okay, let's say when we talk about embryo selection, okay, or what is, yeah, let's say you decide, you think your child, your baby should have blue eyes. Okay, you are deciding for the child. Yeah, what now maybe blue eyes are popular. People say it is very cute, very beautiful. What if in the future there comes a time when blue eyes are no longer favored? So that child will be discriminated. In the same way, you're making decisions without even consulting the child, which you cannot do. So you're making decisions which you're not supposed to do. Okay, so yeah, so these attributes are socially, culturally determined. Yeah, it is dependent on the time and place. Okay, so the idea of good, what is good, what you think is good, yeah, it's not really objective. Okay, it is relative. Yeah, it depends on many factors. For example, okay, forces of profit. Okay, like a certain standard of beauty. Let's say a woman who is beautiful must have these characteristics. She must be tall. Okay, if she is short, we should find a way to increase the length of her tibia. Yeah. So yeah, it is determined by forces of profit. It is determined by individual preferences. So there is a big issue of autonomy here. Next. Okay, so now the conservative position. Yep, so I'm detailing on this because we'll be using these terms for the Islamic position as well. Yeah, so they reject human enhancement outright. Yeah, for them, the reason is something intrinsically valuable is lost. Okay, the frailty of the human condition. Okay, you're born with, okay, you're tall, you're short, you're whatever. Okay, it's important, yeah, to appreciate life. It's only when you don't have something that you appreciate it. Yeah, so the desire for human enhancement, it shows ingratitude for what we have. Yeah, we are not grateful. Okay, and secondly, it makes us unhappy. We are dissatisfied with our life. And finally, what it leads to is unhappiness. Okay, so remember, the whole point of human enhancement was to increase well-being. Okay, welfareism. Yeah, so finally, it's leading to unhappiness. So what's the point? Okay, so they argue that soul making, okay, if you want to develop your soul, you need to struggle. Yeah, so and achievement without sacrifice or effort has no value. It's worthless. Okay, so human enhancement technology, they deny us the opportunity to grow our moral character. Next. Okay, so now I will come to the Islamic discourse on human enhancement, or how in the Islamic discourse we are going to evaluate novel technologies. Okay, so if you're going to look for the word human enhancement, you're going to use JSTOR, you're going to use PubMed, okay, for the Quran, you're not going to find this word there. Okay, it does not directly address human enhancement. Yes, but we have to remember that in Islam, Tawheed is the overarching principle. Okay, so there Islam makes no distinction between religious and profane. Okay, religious and secular, if you want, we don't have this. Yeah, so it encompasses all domains of life. It falls within the ambit of Islam. So no human activity can escape the moral judgment of Islam. This includes technology, novel biomedical technology. So Islam has something to say about any kind of technology. Yeah, so now in Islam, when we look at things, okay, axiology is a science of values. Okay, it is a morality, yeah, if you want. Yeah, so we are looking at values. So when we look at any moral, ethical dilemma, it's not simply it is right or it is wrong. Yeah, this is too simplistic. This is caveman level of analysis. You're good, okay, I let you go. You're bad, I hit you with my club. Yeah, so no, that's not, yeah, it's very sophisticated. So we have 5 levels here, okay, 5 categories. Okay, it is mandatory, obligatory. Second one, it is recommended. Yeah, so as much as possible you should do recommended. The third one, it is neutral. Well, it's okay. Yeah, it's not bad. Yeah, it's not that it is great, but it's not bad. Reprehensible, it's better you don't do this. Yeah, as much as possible, don't do this. Reprehensible. Yeah, it's not really like, but it's not in the last category, which is haram, which is absolute no. Yeah, so when we are deliberating on an ethical dilemma, we will put them in these categories. We have to put them in these categories, otherwise you're not deliberating. Yeah, so ethics involves finally adjudicating, yeah, whether something is right or wrong, or how right or how wrong, or to what extent. Yeah, so we have to be able to say that. Yeah, okay, next. Okay, so yeah, so now Islam accords a very special place for humankind in the universe. Okay, so creation itself is presented in the Quran as a divine act. Okay, so the Quran says man is created in the best of forms. It doesn't mean we are not good enough now. Okay, so later on we will be better with evolution. Yeah, like evolutionary biology says man, it is half-baked. No, we don't have that. Yeah, you're created in the best of form. Yeah, God didn't give you one nose and and now it's deficient, you need 2 to function properly. Yeah, or you need eyes at the back of your head as well. No, he has already created you in the best of form. Okay, and man is endowed with inherent dignity. We don't need to find this dignity from outside. Okay, being human, okay, you already have that human dignity in you. Okay, so here, look at acts of God. God is a creator of life, a giver of life, is a provider of life. Yeah, is also the terminator of life, okay, via death. And human nature in the Quran, it transcends time and place. Yeah, so as I say, we were not monkeys. Okay, we were not apes that became men, lost our hair, became men. No, we don't believe in that. Yeah, so, well, some believe. Okay, look at Carl Linnaeus. Carl Linnaeus, he is famous for classification. Okay, yeah, so in the 18th century, Carl Linnaeus thinks that Chinese actually are not really human. Okay, the category is not Homo sapiens. The category for Chinese is Homo monstruosus. Yeah, and we are still following Carl Linnaeus in many ways, by the way. Yeah, so, and second one is, look at whereas he thinks that the orangutan, literally the forest man, is actually human. Okay, so this is the kind of objectivity we are talking when we're dealing with science. Okay, science makes big claims of objectivity, and here is one of them. Okay, next. Okay, so now man, second, important point is man is created, humankind is created with purpose. Okay, so not for just idle play. Okay, you come on earth to have some fun and then you will go. No. Second one is you have been assigned a huge responsibility over the whole creation. Yes, so you need to preserve them, whether it is a planet, the environment, etc. Others, other humans, okay, other creatures, animals as well. Yeah, so you cannot just go and play around. Next one is we have been given a special position over all creation, whether it is animate, okay, other animals, or inanimate. Next, we have been given stewardship of the universe, what is called Khalifa. Next, okay, we have the responsibility to ensure the well-being of all beings and things on earth. The human person, the Quran uses two words to distinguish, okay, Bashar and Insan. Bashar is a human body in its physical form, and Insan is the spiritual nature, okay, metaphysical spiritual nature of men, okay, in relation to others. Yeah. And any transformation of the human body should consider both of these natures. Okay, because ultimately we are dealing with what is allowed to be done with the human body. Yeah, that's what the issue is. Next. Okay, so next thing is about playing God. Okay, so this denotes a red line. Just because you're able to do something does not mean that you should do. Yeah, so that's what the red line means. Okay, so what humans beings cannot or should not do. Okay, so when you cross this boundary, you trespass into God's territory. Yeah, so here, for example, our human traits and attributes are part of your provision, what is called risk. Okay, so and God made nature of human being. Okay, God has made you in a certain way. Yeah, what is called fitra. So changing these traits or attributes, it is akin to tampering with human essence, a transgression of the divine prerogative, okay, and it is punishable by God. Okay, and the creation of chimeras. Chimeras means you mix human and something else. Let's say you're taking some cells from the eagle's eyes to put in your eyes so that you can have the same vision as the eagle. Okay, so this is called chimera. This is off limit. Okay, it violates human dignity. It is bullying other organisms. Okay, it's a disrespect of nature. Yeah, and other creatures. They have their own relation to the divine. Who are you to go and mess up with that? Okay, this is the idea of playing God here. Next. Okay, so what we found is with respect to human enhancement, there is a lot of overlap between the secular humanist and the Islamic discourse. And also in the Islamic discourse, we can find all three positions. Okay, we can find the permissive position, we can find the restrictive position, we can also find the conservative position. Okay, yeah, let's move on. In 5 minutes, I'll be done. Yep, here, some slides, I'll go a bit fast. Next, please. Okay, so this one just to show, I'm just showing what earlier I showed. Okay, next one. Okay, just a recap. Okay, next. Okay, yeah, so here the permissive Islamic position, it's possible to find this position, okay, among some Muslims, especially those who can reconcile evolutionary biology and Islam. Don't forget, there are Muslims who believe in Darwin's theory of evolution, who think we were apes, who lost our hairs, okay, along the way. Yeah, so those who would most likely subscribe to the permissive Islamic position would self-identify themselves as the progressive liberal Muslims. Okay, so they would consider human enhancement, it is an inevitable process. Okay, we cannot run away from it sooner or later. You run away from it now, sooner or later you'll have to accept it and embrace it. Okay, so they accept human enhancement in both its moderate and radical form. Okay, so so here, just to mention that generally it is forbidden. Yeah, enhancement. Okay, no obligation or necessity to enhance in view of a perceived, not necessarily real threat. Okay, and but not in the permissive. Okay, so you will only enhance if it is a real threat, not like you think this will be a threat, so I'll better take my precaution and enhance. Okay, so to enhance or not to enhance, this is a question to rephrase Shakespeare. Maybe this might be our future dilemma. Okay, next one is permissive moderate enhancement. This one can be defended well. It's neutral, mubah or reprehensible, but not forbidden. They say, well, I want to improve myself. Yeah, it's just like in the case of luxury items. Okay, I want to buy Louis Vuitton and Prada. Okay, it's not haram. Yeah, I can afford it. So it can be justified like in this way. Yeah, so the exception for this kind of permissive enhancement, yeah, so would be like the brain, if it concerns the brain, yeah, or it concerns the genitals, especially if it is going to affect future generation. Okay, next one. Next one, please. Okay, restrictive. Okay, the restrictive position also would be, yeah, progressive Muslims. Okay, so here this one is, well, they favor the precautionary principle. Okay, we have to be very cautious about it. Okay, we have to really make sure it really works. The side effects won't be so bad. Okay, so here they invoke the principle of maslaha, common good. Okay, and they're aware that it can be potentially harmful, but it can be, there's some good in it. Okay, so here, yeah, maybe necessity makes the prohibited lawful. Yeah, they can justify it this way, or they can say, okay, yeah, they underplay the legal maxim of darar. Okay, warding of harm has priority over acquiring benefits. Yeah. Okay, next one. Okay, now the conservative Islamic position. Okay, so the majority of the Muslim scholars fall in this group. Okay, and generally they tend to adopt a fiqh-based approach. Okay, so like it's generally forbidden, but exceptions have to be made. Okay, if the threat is real, it's not perceived, it's not, yeah. Yes, just you think, it is not speculative. Okay, for example, during COVID-19, yeah, so the threat initially, no one is really using vaccine. Okay, and then, yeah, it is accepted. Yeah, it's in the face of a real threat, many people are dying. Next one is it can be allowed under even germline editing. Yeah, it can be allowed. Yeah, so we don't really have a full conservative zero tolerance position. We don't have that. Yeah, so it can be allowed. Okay, and sorry, can I have my slide? Okay, well, my slide is gone. Okay, but no problem. Yes, so what I wanted to say is we don't have a zero tolerance position. So we always have make exceptions in certain cases. So even for germline editing, what if a family has a hereditary condition? Yeah, and it can be fixed, why not? Yeah, and also, well, regarding moral enhancement, we have some issues with that. Yeah, so because it's against the idea of salvation. Yeah, moral enhancement, to enhance you morally to be good. Yeah, so well, that's the whole point of religion. And then longevity, well, as long as it is in the case of preventing premature death, that's okay. Yeah, so but not just prolong age just for the sake of prolonging age or trying to fight death. Yeah, so that wouldn't be acceptable. So regarding the conception, just to yeah, my last words. Okay, so I asked 3 questions. The first one, the conception of the human person, we find it very different. Okay, the secular humanist, the human is incomplete, okay, is still evolving, yeah, is deficient. Whereas in Islam, no, it is not deficient. Next one is the bioethical issues. We found that they are quite similar. Yeah, so the issues that are raised. And finally, how do they envision human fulfillment? Okay, human fulfillment. Here it is, well, in Islam, it is also, it is about recognizing that the human body, yeah, recognizing our humanity, the limitations of our body, okay, and also the struggle that gives meaning to life and makes life worth living. Okay, I'll stop here. Okay, and yes, please, if anyone has any questions.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Najib Munjaria. I'm sorry for the slides because our operators,
That's okay.
yeah, have technical issues, I think. So she cannot come join again. So we cannot share your slides in this Zoom. But I think thank you for the uh, great presentations. I think we have many perspective about the human enhancements in Islam. We have three categories. I think there are permissive, restrictions, and also conservative. They have their own. I think their own principles. Yes. So about permissive, they allow about the enhancements. I think so. I have a questions, Mr. Najib, but oh yeah, for the all of the participants, if you have any questions, you can write down your questions on the meeting chat, or you can raise your hand if you want to ask directly in this Zoom meeting. So, my question is, Mr. Najib, can you elaborate more about the uh, permissive one? Is there any boundaries that they maybe they have limit themselves about which one I can enhance, which one I cannot enhance, or they just I can enhance anything in myself. So yeah, maybe
Okay.
you can see.
Yes. All right. All right. Well, if we are talking about secular humanists, don't forget that they subscribe to liberalism. Yeah. So the philosophy of liberalism means there are no limits. Let the market decide.
Mm.
Okay, it's a free market. The free market means the market decide what is right, what is wrong. So there are no limits.
Okay,
So
okay.
there are no limits. That's for the secular humanist view. Yeah. So, but in the Islamic view, yeah. So even, I mean, this position would not. We will only have a very small fringe group. I would say. I wouldn't even put them as minority. Yeah. So I would say it would be really a fringe, small group on the side who might argue for the for the full permissive position. Yeah, so because here there are two things which are very would be very sensitive. Yeah, so in Islam, first one would be regarding tampering with the brain. Okay, tampering with the brain, because the protection of the brain is very, very important. Yeah, so that's a key issue. Okay, with the brain comes intellect with other things. Yeah, so let's say you can do indoctrination this way, okay, or make people more susceptible to certain kind of information. Yeah, so the brain would be one part of the body which would be sensitive. The second one is the genital, yeah, the sexual organ. Yeah, so these would be two parts of the body which would be off limit. So you will have a lot of difficulty to justify this position. You really have to do a lot of acrobatics, okay, a lot of I would say creative hermeneutics. Yes, so to try to justify your position okay, from within the Quran itself. Yeah, we do have a category. Okay, there are 3 categories in Islamic bioethics. One very interesting article, yeah, published on this. Okay, so one is textual. Yeah, so you try to find justification in the text. Yeah, it has to be the scriptural sources in the Quran and the Hadith. Yeah, so textual justification. The second one is you can justify your position through contextual, yeah, a contextual reading of the Quran. So, yeah, you have to read in the Quran in its context. Okay, at that time in history, this was acceptable, but now it's not acceptable. Okay, for example, contextual. And then there is a third type, which is paratextual, going beyond the text. Okay, and here you will have to justify that, well, if we look at this, it is still is within the ambit of Islam. It is still concurs with the big moral vision of Islam. Yeah, so that's the only way you can justify your position if you're adopting a permissive position. And it would be very, very hard and, to get followers, people who accept you. It will remain a very small group. Yeah, so that's not really the mainstream Islamic position, the permissive
Yeah,
position.
thank you, Mr. Gunjaria, because you mentioned about in uh, in participating in God's creations. I think at first that the permissive is go in there. So because maybe others perspective, some other people feel that human beings is already perfect as you mentioned in the presentation. So uh, maybe we have some red line that you can cross that about the human enhancements. One of it is like life extensions, lifelong prolongs the life. Yeah, I think yeah, you mentioned about that. Maybe some people want I want to live longer than others people. I live longer more. I want to have more capability, more ability than other people. So yeah, like in your presentation that it can dominate other people that unenhanced something like that. So maybe Bapak Ibu hadirin in this Zoom meeting, do you have any questions? You can type your questions in the meeting chat, or you can raise your hand if you want to ask directly to the speakers in this Zoom meeting. So maybe any one of you have a questions? Yeah. Okay.
Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam. Dr. Sofan, you have
Ya,
any questions, Dr. Sofan? Yes, please. Yeah.
in bahasa,
Okay, it's okay. In bahasa, it's okay, Dr.
Okay.
Sofan. Yes.
terima kasih presentasi yang sangat bagus, Najib. Very good presentation. Saya cuma ingin menambahkan di dalam penjelasan ada di Al-Quran surat Al-Anbiya ayat 107 mengatakan bahwa Islam itu bukan hanya untuk orang Muslim saja, tetapi untuk semua manusia yang disebut dengan rahmatan lil alamin.
Yes.
Terima kasih Najib, very good.
Thank you, Doctor. Yes, good
Yeah,
point.
thank you, Dr. Sofan. Mr. Najib, maybe you have a comment.
Yes, no, I completely agree with Dr. Sofan. Yes, Islam is not revealed only for Muslims. It is the Prophet. Okay, the Prophet is, as you say, it is rahmatul lil alamin. Yeah, it's for the whole humanity. Yeah, so we really need to look at solutions, yeah, which will benefit the whole of humanity. So that's the reason I emphasized earlier, yeah, so about priorities. Okay, it's about priorities, your maqasid al-sharia, Okay, if we go with a reading of the Quran, so here we have the scholar Al-Shatibi. I haven't gotten into the history of Maqasid al-Sharia. Okay, Al-Shatibi, so he says like, okay, if we go through deduction, okay, induction, an inductive reading of the Quran, we look at all the verses, what God really wants, what is, okay, he likes, what he doesn't like, we can finally see these are the 5 main things, the 5 universal priorities, what is called daruriyat, so which has to be enforced. So these are the 5 things. So it's only by knowing these priorities that we can get it right. So that's the problem with secular humanism. Because using all these other theories, it doesn't tell you what is priority. That's where we get into misguided priority. Why do you want to extend life to live forever? What value is there in it? It has no value. So that's why we need to know what is a priority.
Agree. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Safan.
Assalamualaikum.
Salam.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Stefan. I think it's always be interesting discussions about human enhancements, especially in Islamic value, because we have some various perspectives, as Mr. Najib mentions in the presentation, in his presentation. So maybe I will greet Prof. Yati. Good afternoon, Prof. Yati. Maybe you have
Thank you.
yeah.
Not yet.
Okay, thank you.
I'm still listening.
Yeah, thank you, Prof.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Prof.
Yeah. So maybe before we close this discussion and these sessions, you have closing remarks, take home message maybe, Mr. Najib, for all participants here. Please, Mr. Najib.
Well, well, my closing remark with respect to human enhancement, and not just with respect to human enhancement and Islam, but I would say with respect to Islamic bioethics. Well, I wish there were more people working on it. I wish there were more people working on it. The reason why secular bioethics, or like global bioethics, is actually secular bioethics. Okay, so you have so many people working on it. That's how you can finally fine-tune it, improve it. Okay, all the flaws in it, you can even try to cover it. So there are not enough people working in the area of Islamic bioethics. And I would say that, well, pioneered by Muslims, but not only Muslims, others too, Jews, Christians, have contributed to bioethics, Islamic bioethics. So as a discipline. So I wish there were more people working in this area. We're working in this area to find, especially with respect to not individual topics, like human enhancement is just one topic. So I would really say in the area of meta ethics, in the area of theories, theories of moral theories, like Maqasid al-Sharia. People have been looking at it too much from the legal perspective, too much from jurisprudence. So I want to look at it from the ethical angle. So that's the reason actually I'm trying to develop a framework for Islamic bioethics. So that we can use Maqasid al-Sharia in order to examine, to evaluate, all kinds of bioethical issues, and deliberating about these issues in a language that anybody can understand, not only Muslims. So these deliberations are not just meant for Muslims. We need a common language. We need solutions for humanity, not just solutions for Muslims. We are not exception on the planet. This planet is for everybody. So that's why I think it's good that we start working on these priorities, this is one area that others could also explore, could contribute, could question, could challenge. This way we can have a truly global bioethics. Let me put it this way: a truly global bioethics, not a bioethics that favor the rich and developing countries. Okay, especially I want to see more work. Okay, human enhancement, that's not such a pressing issue. In fact, pressing issue, serious issue is public health. Okay, that's where we need to have more work on Islamic bioethics or on bioethics in general. Why we don't see them? Why it's always a white man's problem? Yeah, so I think we are still in this grip of colonialism. Yeah, so bioethics has to evolve. Yeah, I don't think the human has to evolve. I think bioethics has to evolve. Okay, this is my parting word.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Najib Gunjaria, for the great discussions today, and I'm happy for having these discussions. We have a lot perspective about the human enhancement and in Islamics, and we are in the we now reach in the end of this session. So I would like to thanks again Mr. Najib Gunjaria for the time and for sharing his experience, his research about these topics, and thank you Bapak dan Ibu semuanya for joining this meeting discussion today. And again, thank you and good afternoon.
Thank you.
And please with further collaboration, develop further collaboration.
Oh, sorry, Prof. Yati.
Yeah, we'd like to develop further collaboration.
Okay, develop
Because we
for
have,
yeah, thank you. Hold develop for the collaborations, and thank you, Prof.
Thank you, Prof.
Yati.
Yati.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Mbak Milen, apakah mau share screen atau Mbak Astrid? About the profile? Yeah. Yeah, biasanya usually we have a video profile, yes, for the closing. Okay. Maybe I will share about the master program studi Magister Bioetika, pendaftaran mahasiswa baru pada tahun 2024 2005, gelombang 4 saat ini 11 Juni hingga 2 Juli. Jadi dicatat Bapak Ibu untuk tanggalnya 11 Juni hingga 2 Juli, jangan sampai terlambat. Syaratnya sangat mudah. Cukup dengan ijazah dan transkrip S1, sertifikat TOEFL, sertifikat TPA, dan lain sebagainya bisa dilihat di um.ugm.ac.id. Oke, next. Dan jangan juga ketinggalan event International Conference Bioethics and Humanities about bioethics to preserve humanity navigating through environmental crisis and rapid technology advancement pada tanggal 5 November untuk pre-conference dan 6 hingga 8 November untuk konferensinya. Tempatnya di Alana, Yogyakarta. Jadi Bapak Ibu yang dari luar Yogyakarta silakan main ke Yogyakarta sambil ikut konferensi nasional Bioethics and Humanities. Jadi jangan sampai ketinggalan dan jangan lupa follow Instagram kami cpmh_UGM Instagram dan subscribe channel YouTube untuk selalu update informasi-informasi tentang Center for Bioethics and Medical Humanities. Bye. Ya, terima kasih.
Bye. Thank you.
Kalau ada satu pertanyaan, apa sebenarnya bioetika itu? Bioetika itu berkembang dari waktu ke waktu. Yang tadinya etika menjadi
Lalu harus
etika
collaboration ya.
menggunakan etika itu kedokteran, medical tadi. Namun demikian sebenarnya pada saat ini yang tidak etis itu tidak hanya kedokteran saja, bisa semua bidang ilmu. Sehingga dengan demikian dari biomedical ethic tadi di bioetika, kemudian global bioethics, ya, dan yang terakhir yang kita kembangkan di sini apa yang kita sebut dengan the new sense of bioethics. Ini pun saya mengembangkan ini distimulasi oleh sekretaris UNESCO yang di Paris. Pertanyaannya, Narto, kamu punya Pancasila, tolong etika itu dikembangkan ini. The New Sense of Bioethics itu adalah satu studi dari transdisciplinary subject, biologi dan seterusnya, ya. Ada sosiologi, ada economics, ada politik, language, bahkan arts, and is studying of human behavior untuk memiliki in having a new tolerance on transdisciplinary attitude. Apa itu artinya? Memang ada keterangan lebih lanjut, tapi itu setidak-tidaknya batasan dari New Sense of Ethics. Tadinya itu respect for person, beneficence, dan justice. 3. Berkembang menjadi 4. Respect for autonomy, beneficence, non-maleficence, dan justice. Nah, dengan the new sense of ethics ini, respect for others itu berarti respect pada antar orang dengan hewan, antar orang dengan tumbuh-tumbuhan maupun lingkungan. Ya, jadi dengan demikian respect for others itu ada artinya tersendiri, berkembang lagi. Beneficent, non-maleficent, yang kita tambahkan di situ adalah tidak hanya justice tetapi it should be social justice for all. Itulah Pancasila.